But the first thing I wanted to cover in terms of the genre news today is this kind of interesting and also disturbing story about Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2 chat. Apparently, there's been, allegedly, a lot of problems behind the scenes, and it has me and I think a lot of other people concerned. I want to read this article, at least a good portion of it to you guys, and then kind of get your opinions on it. I'll share my opinion, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts in just a bit. But this is from the Hollywood Reporter, and so I'll just, start reading this right now. With accidents on the set, complaints about animal abuse, and now reports that the production went wildly over budget, sources tell Rambling Reporter that Ridley Scott's long-anticipated Gladiator sequel is leaving Paramount executives feeling a bit like Joaquin Phoenix's Emperor... how do you say his name? Emperor Commodus. Terribly vexed. Initially budgeted at $165 billion, sources say that the figure has ballooned to something closer to $310 million. Paramount insiders insist the net cost of the 49-day shoot was under $250 million. It's a runaway, says one source. It's not being managed. The strikes account for some of the money. The shutdown starting in July reportedly cost $600,000 a week, or a total of about $10 million, until Scott resumed shooting in December. Though there were some reports he kept cameras rolling during the work stoppages, shooting extras at crowd scenes in Malta, where he built a Colosseum set. But even before the walkouts, Fortuna clearly frowned on this sequel, which stars Paul Mescal as a grown-up Lucius, the young royal in the original, who worshiped Russell Crowe's Maximus. A stunt gone wrong in June sent 4 crew members to the hospital with non-life-threatening burn injuries. Then in July, PETA sent an open letter to Scott file with whistleblower reports about horses and monkeys being abused on set. Reports the sources closed the production, deny knowing the Humane Society was on site during the film. Plus, it's PETA, so, you can't really exactly trust them. And that moves on to, another story right there. But, yeah, this is concerning to me. For one, as you guys know, I personally think Ridley Scott is kind of the very definition of a hit-and-miss director. Not to say that he hasn't made great movies. Literally, one of my favorite films of all time is Alien, chat. It's easily my top 3, and most of the time it is my number 1. But, over the last 20 or so years, I just feel like he's been delivering, a lot of duds across the board. For every The Martian, there's a Prometheus and Alien Covenant. For every, really any other film that for every Last Duel, for example, there's a House of Gucci or a Napoleon. And, his last movie, which was Napoleon, which was this big epic with a $200, plus $1 million budget, that was a huge mess. And I like Gladiator. I really enjoyed the original Gladiator quite a bit. A lot of people would argue it's one of, Ridley Scott's best films, up there with Alien and Blade Runner, right? It was a huge influential movie for the 2000s. You saw the return of the Sword and Sandals movies, which, tried to measure up to that film, but I think kind of came short, whether it be something like, Troy, for instance, right? But I just never felt the need for a sequel to this story, especially because, Russell Crowe's character, General Maximus, he dies. Spoiler, he dies at the very end, right? And I don't know. It was always kind of very weird. I know there was some talk about doing a sequel years ago, and that Russell Crowe was going to come back as a ghost, and I was like, wait, what? It was very bizarre. And so just to hear about all these behind-the-scenes issues, to hear about the budget alone, the fact that this movie is allegedly going to cost $310 million, I think that's ridiculous. I'm like, it does not need to cost that much. And I can't see it even turning a profit. What would it need to turn a profit even? Even break even, it would need to make well over $600 million. That's not even including the marketing budget. It probably need to make $700 million to even break even, which is insane, which is staggering. I actually want to go. I want to go ahead and actually look up what the budget of the original film was and what it actually earned theatrically. But how do you guys feel about this story? Because this just sounds ridiculous. This just sounds like a production gone absolutely haywire. Let me look up the budget on Gladiator first, and I want to get your guys' thoughts because I'm like this movie shouldn't have happened. From 2000, let's see here. So the original Gladiator had a budget of $103 million. And again, you got to adjust for inflation, of course, yada, yada. But $100 million budget. And it went on to gross $465.4 million. So basically earning 4 times as much and some change. And, like, I just don't see this movie being, like, a $700 million. I mean, who knows? Maybe it might be for all I know. But, like, you think the sequel to Gladiator is going to make over $700 million at the very least to even break even? This just seems very irresponsible. Let me see what you guys are saying here right now. They're thinking there's going to be some Avengers level event, or maybe they're thinking that it's going to be like an Oppenheimer-esque thing, or, you know, a Barbie kind of esque movie. Maybe that's what their thought process is. The one sequel script that floating around basically had Russell Crowe's character becoming mortal and fighting through history, or becoming immortal and fighting through history. Oh my god! Oh my god! I mean, kind of want to see. I want to see that now. Now I want to see that. Oh Lord. Ace Rock, Buddy Rock, don't stop. Good to see you. Welcome. Yeah, the OG's budget $100 million, $465 million box office. I learned nothing from last year's Bob budgets. Yeah. Well, to be fair, this movie was in like principal photography for, you know, months in 2023. But you're right. At the end of the day, yeah, it's like, I don't know who would throw $310 million at a sequel for Gladiator. Gladiator's a good enough movie, right? Doesn't need a sequel. Agreed. That's wild because the one thing Ridley Scott is known for is staying within the budget and for turning in a finished product on time. It's why the studios still love him. But it's like so many of his movies, though, recently have been so, like, heavily over budget. Like Napoleon, for example, was over $200 million. That's the thing. You would think they would have learned from the bloated budget from last year, but nope, this will bomb. Was the big thing that caused a bunch of movies to underperform last year? Yep. Yeah. Okay, I'm back. Big Smith sounds awesome. Big Smith says, sounds awesome. Chris says it was shooting before the strikes happened. Right. I think the budget started out small and ballooned because of the strikes. Yeah. Well, it's just at this point, like I really struggle to see this movie performing well commercially. You know, like, yeah, we'll see, you know, critically at the end of the day. I honestly don't think Ridley Scott has it in him anymore. I don't think he has it, you know. Especially after seeing like Napoleon, which again is this huge historical epic, and it ended up being one of the worst movies of last year, in my opinion. I really vehemently dislike that film. And I just don't feel like he has it in him. He's not that filmmaker that he was 20 years ago. He hasn't been that filmmaker, I think, for a very long time. It's like, yeah, you have like notable exceptions like within this century that were, you know, The Martian and The Last Duel. But my God, I mean, he's made so many bad films, you know, just in the last 10 years alone, the last 15 years alone, that I'm just surprised that studios still trust him to make these huge movies. It's very, very weird to me. And I don't know. If I was going to make a Gladiator sequel, which I wouldn't greenlight something like that because I don't think you need to. It just feels very weird. I wouldn't have had Ridley Scott be the director of it, to be perfectly honest. That's just how I feel. Let me get your guys more of your opinion on here. There are 2 flops. Do you think Hollywood would give Ridley Scott any more big? No, I think it's over. I think if this will be it. I think he's gotten so many chances over the last few years that this is the last one. This will be the last one. He'll still probably make movies, but never on the scale again of something like this. Let's actually look at his filmography. Let's look at Ridley Scott's filmography, chat, and see how his movies have done over the last few years. I'm going to bring that up just to see here. And also, let me continue to read your points as I get this brought up as well. GC, honestly, whenever Ridley Scott has 2 movies in one year, you know one ends up being good and one being bad. 2017 Alien Covenant was bad, but All the Money in the World was good. 2021, The Last Duel was good, but House of Gucci had Jared Leto doing his best Mario. But you're breaking my heart! I think the studios would tighten their purse strings since less people are going to theaters, apparently, yeah. Well, again, this was like during last year where they weren't learning that lesson very well, and now they are. Now they're paying for it. Ridley Scott's best days are 100%. Yeah, Last Duel was good. I didn't. I liked Last Duel. I liked Last Duel. I liked The Martian was good, but not great. I cannot think of the film he has made since Gladiator that was meaningful for quality. I mean, a lot of people would say Kingdom of Heaven. Kingdom of Heaven was a big one for him. But it wasn't even the theatrical version. It was the director's cut. Ridley Scott. It's the audience's fault. Yes, Ridley. It's the audience's fault, Scott. All the Money in the World is pretty good from Ridley Scott from the past decade. Maybe he has some dirt on some people in Hollywood, and that's how it happens. A lot of them are hits, though. House of Gucci, Prometheus, like them or not, were hits. Well, I'm talking about, like, not just commercial hits, but I'm talking about, like, quality hits. Like, no one's, like, House of Gucci and Prometheus, those aren't, like, exactly well-liked movies. Last Duel's a flop, but I blame Disney for That's a Space Cowboy. Animal abuse thing is just so infuriating to me. How is that even tolerated? It's 2024. There are people or things in place to make sure that doesn't even happen. It's a hard pass for me. Well, the only thing that gives me, like, out of all everything in the story, like, I believe everything about the story. I believe that it has a ridiculous budget and everything about that and how that's ridiculous. And the one thing that I am suspect of is it's the PETA filed this, and I just think PETA is kind of like a ridiculous organization, to be fair. So that's the one I'm not sure. Like, if it was from another reputable organization, then I'd be like, oh, okay, there's some merit to this. But the fact that PETA, they'll file a complaint, like, if someone has eggs, if a director was seen eating, like, hard-boiled eggs or something. And so that's the one thing that I kind of give it pause. That's the one I'm like, I'm not sure about that one because it's PETA. Although they did have that, I'm trying to see, like, the organization that was on set, and they didn't report, the Humane Society. The Humane Society was on set during the filming, and they did not report anything. So that one is the one thing I'm not sure about. We don't need Gladiator 2. Now the Counselor. Oh, God, the Counselor. Oh, fuck, I forgot about the Counselor. Holy shit. Oh, my God. Edgy Berserker Kevin! Good to have you here, Edgy. Welcome. Hope you're doing well. Ridley kind of fell off, like, but yeah, I would say both of them. Definitely. Although Ridley Scott more so. So I'm back. I decided to watch the first episode of Avatar, and I have to say I didn't hate it. Definitely going to watch more. Opinion could change. Let me know what you think of the whole series. Maybe there's more devices, but it's still got positive reviews. I think in years since, that movie has fallen more and more in people's opinions, though. I think a lot of people, because I was one of those people. I was so fucking excited for Prometheus. I was like, the marketing was doing it for me. Everyone was excited for that movie. And then it came out, and then it got kind of those mixed reviews. And I think just years since then, it's just fallen off more and more. I mean, people literally make fun of it all the time, like pulling a Prometheus. That means something now, which usually, and he's saying you're pulling a Prometheus is because you have a character doing something really stupid in the movie. Like taking off their helmet or touching a evil vagina snake or, flopping around in black goo, Let's see here. Oh, Lord. He just keeps trying to get Pokemon. It's hilarious. So it was like Scott because he, until now, apparently is always under budget and on time. He also lies a lot, that too. So that's the one thing that kind of gives me pause. I'm going to be honest, the last Ridley Scott movie I saw was the Alien prequels, and I don't hate those movies, but yes, I'm one of the few people who generally like those movies. Yeah, we're just on opposite sides of that, Jarvie. I'm not a big fan of those movies, but fair enough. PETA has the highest kill rate for their show. There you go. Yeah, so PETA's kind of foolish. That's the one part of the story that I don't believe, but everything, the budget, and it's like, yeah. Remember this alien abortion was my favorite scene? I remember that scene. That scene creeped a lot of people out. That was a well put together scene. Ace Rock says Denny Villeneuve. Good old Denny's, as I like to call him. Good old Denny's Villeneuve. Best film ever working today. Remember Ridley Scott said he finds superhero movies boring. Well, yeah, the man has made classics, but he also made The Counselor, Exodus, which, oh my God, the Exodus. You guys remind me of some of these. Like, I forgot some of these films, like, exist. God, the Exodus, the one where every Egyptian is played by a white person. Oh my God. Yeah, let's look at his like more recent filmography, Chive. I have that up. For you guys. Here we go. Mr. Scott. So you have Gladiator from 2000, Black Hawk Down, American Gangster. I like American Gangster. And then for this last decade, in the beginning of like Prometheus, I think is terrible. You have The Martian, All the Money in the World, House of Gucci. Where's The Counselor? When did you do? Wasn't The Counselor listed here? Oh, this is like for nominations. Where is his? Because he did more movies than these. Here we go, chat. All right. So let's see here. So Gladiator, obviously good. Hannibal, that movie sucks. Hannibal, Black Hawk Down, Matchstick Men, Kingdom of Heaven, A Good Year. I don't know what this is. American Gangster, Body of Lies. Oh my fucking god, yeah. Body of Lies, terrible. Robin Hood, terrible. Prometheus, terrible. The Counselor, terrible. Exodus, Gods and Kings, terrible. The Martian. I was like, we got to go one. Alien Covenant, terrible. All the Money in the World, Last Do I Like, House of Gucci, Napoleon, awful, and now Gladiator 2. Yeah, Chad. I mean, just I just don't know. How much does the House of Gucci make? How does this make? Budget $75 million. Box office $166.2. Napoleon. Budget between $130-200 million. So where'd that $70 million go? Box office $220.7. So that was a huge loss. It's one of those Apple movies too. And then we have Gladiator 2. Estimated now budget of $250-310 million. Fuck. That is insane. Yeah, I mean, again, I go back to this. I just don't think Ridley Scott has had it in him for many years. Not that he hasn't made good movies. He definitely has. Like my favorite movie is made by him, Alien. But I don't know. I'm just not. If this movie fails, if this bombs commercially, then I think it's done. I think he's done. At least in terms of making these big budget like spectacle movies. I think he'll still be able to make like smaller budgeted stuff, mid budget stuff, but and I just don't think he has it in him anymore. To be frank, to be perfectly honest, but we'll see. Yeah. Good Year is the one where Russell Crowe makes wine in Italy. He makes wine in Italy? That sounds relaxing. Those are the movies that he'll be making now. He'll be making the Russell Crowe makes wine in Italy movies, and I think that might be the best. Oh, Christ. I actually should have gotten him canceled. Well, that was like finally where people were going like, this is kind of fucking bullshit that like all the Egyptians are played by white people. Everyone was just like, I don't think this doesn't work. And all the ancient Hebrews are all white. I'm like, I don't think it's accurate. Who the fuck played Ramses? Who played Ramses the Second? Wasn't it Joel Edgerton? Who played it? Was it Joel Edgerton that played Ramses the Second? I was like, oh my god. And wasn't it Christian Bale? Wasn't Christian Bale fucking Moses? Oh my god, holy shit. I think Sigourney Weaver was like the wife of the previous pharaoh. I was just like, ugh. Oh. Yeah, 2010s to 2020s at least. Yeah, it's been rough. Yep. Lee Scott's one of those artists who's become like complacent with his art. He got used to smelling so. Yeah, I think so. I think that's what happens. I think that's what happens. It happens to a lot of filmmakers. Like they get lazy, they rest on their laurels. They have these huge budgets, and in the case of like Mr. Scott, and they don't put in the same effort that I think they used to do, like back in the day when they had like a relatively lower budget, where they were forced. It forced them to be more creative and interesting, and that's what happens. And so yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm just really not. I'm not excited for this movie. I wasn't when it was announced. I was like, why are we doing this? why are we going this direction? I don't know. We'll find out. Like I'm gonna be very. How do you think this movie's gonna do commercially, chat? You think it's gonna be able to like break even now at this point, even though it's like $300 million? Like it'll need to make like $700 million to break even. It would need to be one of the highest grossing films of and what's the planned release date for this film? It's gonna have to be one of the highest grossing films of this year, because it has a slated release date of November 22nd, 2024. And I just don't see that. Joel Edgerton as Ramsey said was fuck ridiculous. I agree, Jalen. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Yeah, it was that all the casting was ridiculous in that movie. Wasn't Aaron Paul in the film too? Wasn't he? Didn't he play Moses's? Oh, he played someone close to. He was one of the Hebrews in the movie. Oh my God! Yeah, we'll see how it's marketed. Him and Turturro. Turturro is at least slightly brown. It's like closer. It's like all right, we're getting there now. Oh man. Let me see what you guys are saying. I don't know. A lot of goodwill has been broken. Yeah, a lot of goodwill has been broken. Do you think $1 billion? You think it's $1 billion plus, Biggie? Think it's going to do that well? Chris Harris says, who knows? I don't know. A lot of goodwill's been broken. I think this film is 15 years. So yeah. If you were going to make a sequel to the original Gladiator, which again, it's kind of a perfect just like all right, there's a story. It should have come out you would think somewhere in the 2000s at some point. That would have made more sense. It's just weird. No chances Brando would do well because the only people who have any nostalgia for Gladiator never wanted a part 2. Hamilton says, I doubt it. We'll see how it's marketed. Yeah, I'm very curious to see how this is going to be marketed. Kevin Costner's Horizon will do better. Yeah, we'll take a look at the trailer. I think it's going to flop. Too much is stacked against it. Yeah, it's got so much stacked against it. Gladiators Assemble! And I hate that it's also just called Gladiator 2. You know what? They should at least, do the alien naming scheme. Call it Gladiators. I think that would be a better name for it, honestly, than Gladiator 2. It's like, I don't know. Gladiators would have been better. There's reason of a film that someone wanted made, but no one would back it or fund it as original IP, so they made a sequel. Yeah, maybe we're gonna find out that it was a script for something else. It could be it. That could be it, where it was a script for a different movie and they just incorporated. That's happened before, and it happened to some good movies too. So maybe it might be that situation. I'd have to look into that. I don't know if that for sure, but I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised at all. Oh Lord. They had one brown actor. Oh, Ben Kingsley, and I'm like, yeah. That's what. And Ben Kingsley's the guy that they always hire. It's like, all right, we need someone who is relatively brown. Put him in there, and then we can get away with casting all these white actors. They did the same shit for Prince of Persia. Remember they did that for Prince of Persia when they had fucking Jake Gyllenhaal as the Prince of Persia. Get Ben Kingsley in there, and he's the villain. He's the brownest guy in the movie, and he's the villain of the movie. I was like, oh my God. Oh, Hollywood. I love it. So hilarious. So hilarious. I love the original. I think it's a masterpiece. I was never demanding a sequel, though. I'm sure they'll give it us subtitles, and they need to. I've got there too. Fuck you, pay me. Yeah, it's like Norwegian Nature Egypt. Oh, God. That's how we got most of the diamond. I guess, yeah. They were supposed to be something else. That's true. So, there's examples. Ridley Scott, are you not entertained? Chris looking at his recent movies. Chris, fuck no, I'm not. That's true. I would tell him. I'm like, no, I've not been. Oh, Lord. Especially after Napoleon. Oof. Hollywood's just so shameless. Alfred Molina. They always make Alfred Molina. Sometimes they make Alfred Molina ethnically mysterious, obviously. We don't know exactly what he is because he's in Indiana Jones. He's in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's that guy. Back in the day, they cast him in those roles, before. Because isn't he? What is Alfred Molina? Isn't he Scottish and Spanish? What's his thing? He's like halfsies. What is he? He's Scottish and he's something else. Let me look up Alfred Molina and we'll move on to some of these other news stories. Listed as a British actor. Let's see. Alfred Molina is a British actor known for his work on stage. What is he? He was born Alfredo Molina in Paddington District of Ludding. His parents are both immigrants. His Spanish father was a waiter. He's Italian, so he's Italian and Spanish. And they're like, it's close enough. You're Peruvian now, Mr. Molina. Oh, Lord. That's so good. Oh, my God. Let's see here. We got a better version of Exodus. It's called The Prince of Egypt. Prince of Egypt is fucking badass, man. That movie is great. That movie is awesome. Yeah. Gladiators or Gladiator Coliseum. That'd be better. I like Gladiator sounds just cleaner. It's like, ooh, Gladiator. I was like, it's like Gladiator Coliseum. I don't mind, okay. I'll go with that. I think it's better than Gladiator 2. It's better than Gladiator 2. So hopefully they'll change it around a bit. Ben Kingsley's British Asian. He's just who you get if you don't want to spend money on a real black or Indian actor. But the Prince of Egypt was good. I was hearing about Napoleon. I was expected to see some big budget biopic of one of history's biggest figures, only to get salacious fan fiction battle scene scripted by ChatGPT. Yeah, that movie's terrible. Just awful movie. It was one of my worst of last year. Definitely was the racially ambiguous guy of the 80s and 90s until Cliff Curtis came. Oh yeah, good old Cliff Curtis. Yeah, he stole his thunder. No doubt about it. Yeah. I'll be fair to Ridley. He did not make the worst Egyptian movie of all time. Who makes the worst one? Like Exodus is up there of the 21st century. I think Exodus. I think you could definitely argue that it's up there. I'd have to like really think about it, but it's high. Gods of Egypt. There it is. Yeah. Okay, there you go. I was like, yep, that's it. Gods of Egypt. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Gods of Egypt. Yeah, you're right. I think it goes Gods of Egypt, then Exodus, whatever the fuck the subtitle of that movie was, Gods and Kings or something. That was a good one. Very good, Jeff. Very good.